appointments of the 2017 council committees.
So, are they're in everyone's packets? Is that mine? Oh, good, yeah. So I just, no, that's all right. Before, I didn't see who's on there, but first I just wanted to say that really there's a great deal of talent, passion, expertise, and experience on this council. And in forming the committees, I tried to maximize those talents and balance them with the expertise needed in the various committees to effectively get the work done. So as you can see, I did not make a tremendous amount of changes in what Councilor Murphy did last year, because I thought there was, in many cases, we were moving forward. We had just started scratching the surface on a number of projects, and to change up the committees totally, I felt would be do a disservice to the work that had been done. So and again, I tried to really set the committees to maximize the individual's experience and expertise and balance it with some dynamic conversation that I thought that people could bring to each one and hopefully result in a meaningful outcome, while giving some councilors the opportunity to kind of spread their wings a little bit and take on some different things. So I think bring those all together, hopefully make some pretty strong committees. Some of the most notable changes, including the combining of the appointments and the personnel committees. Both these committees are similar in nature, but are looking at personnel from slightly different angles. By putting them together under one committee, they'll be able to look at the position in its totality, from filling the vacancies and appointments right through their employment, and that includes evaluation and employee evaluation. We've all agreed, I think Councilor D'Angelo really was a strong supporter of this, that it's an area that needs to be revamped, and I think putting these groups together, I think putting on it from soup to nuts, we'll be able to now get that in, get the positions filled with always the thought of how we're going to evaluate the systems. So that was one. The other notable change is the suspension of the City Hall Relocation Committee. And I say suspension because it is going to be another vital committee once the building starts to get taken down and rebuilt. But for this point, I felt like that we should streamline and work at the committees that we have a lot to work to be done, and then when that time comes, to reinstate that committee to move it forward. But so otherwise, the standing committees for 2017 year are Finance, License, Public Properties, Rules and Ordinance, Public Safety, Public Works, and Cemetery. So for the upcoming year, my goal is to try to bring through to fruition some of the work that we have begun. For example, the Ordinance Committee has done a tremendous amount of work on gathering information and data, on reorganizing and strengthening a parking department, that met the needs of the city. And my goal is that we take some action, and in that committee in particular, you see I didn't really make any changes. I had to take myself out, but then added in Councilor Matheson, who I think will bring, especially with Karen leaving, bring a different dynamic to help us move some of those things forward. So I thought that was an appointment that needed to be made, and a work that we've been working on for a long time, and we really are at the threshold to actually make some things happen. Through the hard and creative work of the council, led by the Finance Committee, we've been getting a handle on the road work and a system for completion that needs to be monitored. So that's another goal. We really need to keep this on the forefront and not just think it's that we set it and it goes the right way. Additionally, we will be having some upcoming challenges with road and water line replacements that needs to be addressed. And my goal is that we all really work together and implement a comprehensive plan to address that right from the get-go. So we are all on the same page and moving it in the same direction as we've now begun to move the road work. Another goal, I think, this year we have is our new CPC committee that is just now being formed. And we really need to set that up strong right from the start, with getting the memberships, solidify them, and running, setting up with timelines, organizational protocols, and procedures, so that we can really have an impactful CPC committee. And finally, my goal, so always things that change, but we're always working on a lot of projects and studies, and for example, going on is our moratorium and the ongoing master steering and the waterfront access. And I think each of these committees are looking at what a vision for Malden is from a different perspective, like how we got access down to the water, and about, you know, the building and zoning, and just the oversight on all the master steering. So I'd like to see if there is some simple ways that we can see what are crossing over, so that we can, you know, take those and prioritize and help move some things forward. So we do have a vision for Malden. So when things come down, we know where they fit, and we don't try to find a place for them to fit. That's what sometimes happens. So it's a last minute. So those are my goals, and the reason I set up those committees in particular. And do I read off the names? All right. So we'll start with our Personnel Appointments Committee. Will be chaired by Councilor DiMaria, with the vice chair of Councilor Murphy. And rounding that out will be Councilor D'Angelo, Councilor Matheson, and Councilor Anderson. Finance will be chaired by Councilor Condon, and vice chair will be Councilor Kinnon, who will be continuing on the road work. Rounding that out is Councilor Matheson, Councilor Sika, Councilor Murphy, and Councilor Anderson. License, Councilor Anderson will remain the chair, Councilor Sika is the vice chair, and Councilor Murphy, Condon, and O'Malley. Public Properties will be chaired by Councilor Matheson. Vice chair will be Councilor O'Malley, Councilors D'Angelo, Sika, and DiMaria. Rules and Ordinance, well, Councilor Spatafora will be the chair, Councilor Matheson, the vice chair, Councilors Kinnon, DiMaria, and O'Malley, members. Public Safety, this has not changed at all. They work well together. Councilor Kinnon is the chair, Councilor D'Angelo is the vice chair, Anderson, Sika, and Condon, the members. Public Works, Councilor D'Angelo. Councilor O'Malley will serve as vice chair, Councilors DiMaria, Anderson, and Spatafora. And for the cemetery, Councilor Murphy is the chair, Councilor Kinnon the vice chair, and Councilor Crowe will sit on that committee as well. As for the ad hoc committees, I've made no changes in those committees. I think that they've been working on a lot of them are in the midst of moratorium planning, are in the midst of all the work that they're doing, and so make it, and again, like I said, any of those changes would be detrimental. One committee that we realized, and they printed them out, it'll be added on, is the traffic committee that was just formed, that just, for some reason we didn't get that on this list, but that will be in there. Those are the committees for 2017.